Overnight, the number of COVID-19 cases in the U.S. ramping up at an alarming rate. There are now more than 200,000 cases across the country. It comes at the worst time. The federal stockpile of protective equipment like masks and gloves now nearly gone, nearly depleted. And the virus spreading here in the Carolinas too. South Carolina now reporting nearly 1,300 cases. North Carolina seeing more than 1,700. Mecklenburg County also reporting its second death in the last 24 hours from COVID-19. Now we want to go show you this graph. We showed it to you the other day. The president's been using it as well. It's from the University of Washington. The thing is, this thing is evolving, and we know that. So this is the latest as we know right now. And it shows the peak. This is just past peak. The dotted line is what we know, and the red area could go either way. The peak is still back over actually on April 27th, it looks like. That's 25 days from now, and that's with 51 people dying a day. There you go, back at the peak right there, the 27th. 51 people expected to die on that day. So that gives you some sense of what we're in for in the next couple of days. And we'll continue to show you this graph because, like I say, it changes as more data comes in as well. Here, we're seeing more people in community with the virus. A Charlotte area union says 2 Piedmont airline workers tested positive for COVID-19. 2 others are quarantining themselves. And a paramedic with Mecklenburg County's medical emergency response team also testing positive. So without further ado, let's kick off our team coverage with Wake Up Charlotte's Richard Devane. He's in Uptown Charlotte right now. And Richard, with more of these essential workers catching the virus, a lot of them, understandably so, want hazard pay.
Absolutely correct. Good morning to you, Ben. Good Thursday mornings. A lot of these folks are saying they're on the front lines, as you said earlier. They're doing the job of trying to help in this very tragic pandemic. They say that's why they're going to need a little extra as far as when it comes to their pay.
County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
They're the men and women who we call to help us during this COVID-19 pandemic. Their presence is needed even more. But now Medic says one of their own has contracted the virus that's infected many, and in many cases taken the lives of patients around the world, and also here locally. In a statement, Medic's deputy director added, "Our employee is at home and in isolation and doing well." He went on to say, "The source of the positive test is unknown, and we can confirm that our provider did not transport a patient who has tested positive to date." Just 2 days ago, Medic told us calls requiring personal protective equipment has spiked, and they already are seeing shortages. All this is Atlanta's Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms passed hazard pay of $500 per month extra for workers on Tuesday. And now the Fraternal Order of Police here say its officers want the same.
All of the city of Charlotte employees that are essentially exposing themselves or potentially exposing themselves, deserve this hazard pay.
Yeah, and we have reached out to Mayor Violaus to see her opinion on this, and if there's any updates, of course, we'll bring those to you. We're here in Charlotte. This is Richard Devane for Wake Up Charlotte.
All right, Richard, thanks. Turning now to other big developments in the COVID-19 outbreak this morning. After a lot of criticism, Florida's governor finally issuing a stay-at-home order there. The governor previously said that it was up to the counties and cities to implement those rules. Florida has nearly 7,000 confirmed cases and 86 deaths. South Carolina is now one of only 12 states that hasn't issued a statewide stay-at-home order. Sobering numbers out of New York, which is now at the center of the outbreak in the United States, of course. COVID-19 deaths in the state jumped 25% in just 24 hours. And experts predict it's not going to peak there until the end of the month. The New York City Health Department now telling doctors and nurses to ration masks.
Good morning, I'm Billie Jean Shaw. Schools across North Carolina will remain closed until at least May 15th. Because of that, districts have already started planning the final phase of the e-learning process. So if you have a child that attends CMS, know that new learning material will be available starting this Monday.
President Trump considering limiting air travel. His administration discussing stopping certain domestic flights and rail lines between cities where COVID-19 is widespread. Last week, the CDC issued a travel advisory for New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. The IRS reversing course. People who get Social Security benefits will not have to file a tax return to receive their stimulus check. Originally, the department said they'd had to file a return to get that money, but not anymore. That's it for your Morning Rush. More news in less time.
Amid the coronavirus pandemic, unemployment is skyrocketing across the United States and right here in North Carolina. The Division of Employment Security is now hiring new people to make and take these new customer calls because they're coming in at record numbers. Just to take a look in New York, last week, they typically have about 50,000 calls. They had 8.2 million calls for unemployment, people asking questions about it, how to file for it. So here's what you need to know. You can do it online here in the state of North Carolina. You need your social security, recent employer details, any retirement money that you may be getting, your bank account information handy, and your work history. Have all those documents ready to go. On the state's website, they're saying after you file the claim, it will take about 14 days to receive that first payment. And then anything additional, any additional benefits that now Americans are going to be receiving from the federal government because of the stimulus packages, they're still awaiting more guidance on that. But what the packages are doing, we're pumping now $1 billion into the unemployment system. They're giving states more assistance to take on the growing number of calls right now. They're easing the eligibility requirements, and the federal government is paying back 100% to the states where they would typically do 50%. Now, if you are in a position where you want to work, you need to work, and maybe you have been laid off, furloughed, fired, well, here are some companies that are doing some mass hiring. I just picked a handful or so do your own research to look for other options as well, but CVS, Walgreens, Publix, Lowe's, Target, Amazon, look into any food delivery services if you want to go that route. Zoom is hiring, a lot of different options to help get you guys through this. We'll continue to keep you posted.